Welcome to Yoga with Subhash. In this video, we will be practicing a sequence that will help the quadriceps become more flexible and more stronger. So let's get started. Let's begin by practicing a simple stretch called the cat and cow stretch or Vajrasana. This stretch will help us loosen up the spine and prepare us for the rest of the session. So come onto your hands and knees. Position the hands vertically under the shoulders and knees vertically under the hips. Keep the palms flat on the floor, fingers spread out wide. As you inhale, begin to lift the head up and the tailbone up while dipping the navel down toward the floor. When you exhale, do the opposite. You lift the navel up toward the ceiling while lowering the chin down to the chest and tucking the tailbone in. Keep the movements synchronized with the breath. Repeat these movements maybe 4 or 5 times at a slow pace, gentle pace. Just gently stretching the spine. When you finish the next exhalation, bring the spine back to the neutral position for a brief moment. And then we'll sit down in the Vajrasana, where you'll sit down with the buttocks resting on the heels. Relax there for a moment or two. Next, we'll practice this asana called the Ushtrasana or the camel pose. We'll start by practicing the half camel or the Ardha Ushtrasana. So let's come up on the knees and place the hands on your waist, joining the thumbs behind your back at the lower part of the spine. When you inhale, we're going to push the thumbs forward. Your buttocks will get pushed forward. At the same time, tilt the head back, create a little arch in the spine. In this whole stretch, keep the shoulders rolled back. When you exhale, straighten the spine, and without bending forward, bring the buttocks back on the heels, resting in Vajrasana. Repeat this movement a few more times, maybe 4 or 5 times. So when you inhale, pushing the thumbs forward, pushing the buttocks forward, roll the shoulders back, tilt the head back, create an arch in the spine. When you exhale, straighten the body, and without bending forward, bring the buttocks back onto the heels in Vajrasana. Keep the movement synchronized with the breath. Keep the breath smooth and slow. When you finish the next exhalation, just rest and relax in the Vajrasana for a couple more moments. And now we'll practice the full version of the Ushtrasana or the camel pose. So once again, come up on your knees. This time place the palms behind your buttocks and with the hands push the buttocks forward. We'll try to maintain this position where the buttocks remain pushed forward throughout the pose, throughout the asana that we are practicing. And now slowly tilt the head back, roll the shoulders back and slide the hands down so you can try and grab the heels with your hands. Now it may be possible that your hands are not able to get to the heels. If that's the case, you can curl the toes under and press with the toes to lift the heels up slightly higher. That may help you bring the hands close to the heels. If that also doesn't help to hold the heels with the hands, you can use a strap. So wrap the strap around your ankles and use the hands to hold the strap as close to the feet as you can, while at the same time rolling the shoulders back, tilting the head back, pushing the buttocks forward to come into the Ushtrasana. So with either of these options, try to maintain this pose, the Ushtrasana or the camel pose, for maybe 5 or 6 breaths. And after the next exhalation, once again release the pose. Sit back up on the heels in Vajrasana and relax for a few more moments. And now, to engage the quadriceps a little more in our stretch, from the Vajrasana, we'll lift the buttocks up maybe an inch or 2 from the heels, making sure the buttocks are not lifted up too high. You can imagine that previously there was a cushion between your heels and your buttocks, and now you remove the cushion but without moving the buttocks or letting them drop down. So the distance between the buttocks and heels is only about an inch or 2. You can place the hands on your knees or your thighs and try to maintain the pose for whatever duration you're comfortable. As you will notice very soon, you can start feeling a sense of burning sensation in your thighs, which is an indication that the thighs are getting a very nice deep stretch. Whenever you're done with the stretch, you can once again sit down in the Vajrasana and relax for just a few more moments. And now we'll do a very similar stretch, but this time from the tiptoe position. So come onto the toes, sit down on your tiptoes. Initially rest the buttocks on your heels, and once again, to do that deep stretch of the quadriceps, we lift the buttocks up, again about 2 to 3 inches above the heels. You can place the hand on the knees or thighs. And it's a stretch which is very similar to the previous stretch that we did, but with just a slightly different experience. So again, maintain the position for whatever duration you're comfortable with. When you're ready to come out of the pose, just relax the pose. Once again, sit down in the Vajrasana for a couple more moments and relax. And now, we will practice 2 basic rounds of Surya Namaskara or sun salutation. And in the second round, we will practice a stretch that will help stretch the quadricep area. So let's come up to a standing position. Come to the front of the mat or very close to the top of the mat. Feet together. Feet should feel flat and firm on the ground. If you're not comfortable with the feet together, you can keep them apart slightly but parallel to each other. As you exhale, bring the palms together into the prayer position. You inhale, stretch the arms out in front, raise them up all the way, and then stretch backwards. Bring the arms behind the ears gently. Now as you exhale, begin to bend forward, nice and smooth move. Go as far as you can. Finally, drop the hands. Try and get the hands close to the toes. Now bend the knees. Position the palms on the floor alongside the feet and bring the left foot all the way back. Slide it back and then place the knee down. Lower the buttocks down but lift the chest up. As you exhale, bring the right foot back and get into the downward facing dog where the buttocks are lifted up. You're trying to press the heels down close to the floor. Now bring the knees, chest and the chin down to the floor in what's called the Ashtanga Mudra or the 8-limbed pose. You release the knees down, chest and chin down. And now bring the buttocks down and slowly lift the head up, chest up, but lift the palms off the floor as well, using the upper body strength to lift the chest higher and also make the effort to lift the legs higher behind you. So chest higher, legs higher, palms off the floor. Bring the palms back down and push with the palms to get back into the downward facing dog. Again, lift the buttocks up, press the heels down. Now lift the head up slightly and bring the left foot all the way up, forward between the palms. Keep the right knee on the floor, chin up. And then bring the right foot forward as you exhale. Bring the feet together, and if it's comfortable, stretch the legs straight and drop the chest down to bring the chest closer to the thighs. Very gentle stretch. Then lift the head up slightly, bring the arms out against the ears in front into the L shape. And as you inhale, raise the arms up and push the arms back behind the ears as you look up. As you exhale, straighten the body and release the arms down. That's the basic round of Surya Namaskar. And as I mentioned, in the next round we will engage the quadriceps a little more in one of these stretches. So once again, feet together. As you exhale, palms together. And this time as you inhale, bring the arms out to the side all the way, and then bring the arms up and back. Push them back. Try to push the arms behind your ears. As you exhale, begin to bend forward. And as you do that, bring the hands behind the back, interlock the fingers behind you, roll the shoulders back. When you inhale, pull the hands up and away toward the ceiling. When you exhale, drop the chest down closer to the thighs. And now release the hands down, bend the knees, palms on the floor alongside the feet, right foot back. And this time slide the right knee further back. And to do a little stretch of the quads, first place the palms on your left knee and stabilize the body, and then we'll lift the back foot up and hold the foot with the right hand behind you. Keep the left hand on your left knee. Now, if you are more comfortable, you can even try to hold the back foot with both the hands. And the effort will be to roll the shoulders back and bring the heel very, very close to the buttocks. And as you do that, you can start feeling a very beautiful stretch on the quad area. So your shoulders are rolled back, you're tilting the head back, body backwards, while at the same time bringing the heel very close to the buttocks. Then release the foot down, place the palms on the floor, bring the left foot back, and get into the downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Buttocks up, heels down. Bring the knees down to the floor, and this time push the buttocks back all the way into the child pose. Try and rest the buttocks on the heels, forehead on the floor, and stretch your arms in front and walk the hands away from you. And without shifting the position of the hands, keeping the forehead close to the floor, slide forward smoothly to get into the cobra pose or the bhujangasana. In this asana, your chest is up, but the navel is still in contact with the floor. Shoulders are rolled back, elbows are close to the body. Hold this pose for 2 or 3 more breaths. And then push the palms down again, go back to the downward facing dog. Lifting the head up, we'll bring the right foot forward, bring it up between the palms. Slide the left knee back. And once again, come up with the hands positioned on your right knee. Stabilize the body. And then slowly lift the back foot up. Hold the foot with the left hand. And again, if comfortable, hold the foot with both the hands. And try to keep the shoulders rolled backwards. Tilt the body back, but bring the heel, the left heel, as close to the buttocks as you can. Again, hold the pose for a couple more breaths. And then slowly release the foot down, bring the palms back on the floor, and lifting the head up, bring the left foot forward. Try to keep the legs straight as you bend over. Lift the head up, slightly bring the arms out to the side and slowly raise the arms up all the way overhead and bring the arms behind the shoulders if you can. Arch back. And then finally straighten the body and release the arms down. Just relax for a few moments here. And now we'll do this pose we call the chair against the wall. So you're going to go against the wall and rest your back against the wall. Slide your feet away from the wall, maybe about 10 to 12 inches. And you'll make adjustments because when you start sliding the buttocks down, your knees should be 90 degrees and the knees should be vertically above the ankle. And if that's not comfortable, you don't have to bend the knees all the way down to 90 degrees. See what feels comfortable. But make sure your back and the head are resting against the wall. You can place the hands on your knees or your thighs and maintain this position for whatever duration you're comfortable with. Once again, very soon you'll start feeling a deep stretch in the quad area. Some of you might even call it a slight burning sensation in the quad area. This is one of the most effective and beautiful stretches for the quads. And again, if you can, stay there for a moment. Otherwise, and whenever you're ready, you can come out of the pose. Once again, get back to your mat and sit down in the Vajrasana with the buttocks resting on the heels for a few moments. We'll do a pose called the Supta Vajrasana or the Reclining Vajrasana. So from the Vajrasana, start tilting the body backwards, place the elbows on the floor behind you, and then slowly slide the elbows backwards and then start lowering the head down closer and closer to the floor behind you. Once the head is on the floor, then you slide the elbows closer and closer to the feet, lift the shoulder blades up, and try to bring the knees close to the floor. So in the Supta Vajrasana or the Reclining Vajrasana, your effort is to rest the head on the floor, at the same time bring the knees to the floor, or if you're comfortable, you can try even bring the knees close to each other. So the knees are on the floor and very close to each other, or touching each other eventually. Head resting on the ground. Hold the pose for a few moments and you can start feeling a very beautiful stretch in the quads. And now if you are comfortable, slide the head backwards and rest the shoulder blades on the floor if you can, while at the same time trying to still push the knees closer and closer to the floor. If the knees come off the floor, that's fine. Just make an effort to bring them back down towards the floor. Hold this pose for a moment or two, and then gradually, using the elbows for support, come back up to a sitting position. And relax in the Vajrasana for a few more moments now. And finally, we will do this pose called the bridge pose or the Setu Bandhasana. So to do that pose, lie down on your back. Just relax for a breath or two first on your back. And then slowly bend the knees and bring the heels very close to the buttocks. Keep the arms alongside the body, palms facing down. Now with the palms pressing down and the heels pressing down, begin to lift the buttocks up all the way, as high as you can. When the buttocks are all the way up, bring the arms under your back, interlock the fingers, and at this point try to roll the shoulders back one at a time. So you're rolling the shoulders back so you can bring the shoulder blades very close to each other, which will help lift the chest higher. At the same time, when you press the heels firmly to the ground, You can lift the buttocks and the thighs higher. And as you press with the heels and the feet down, you can begin to feel a nice stretch on the quadricep area. And again, try and maintain this pose for a few more breaths. The effort and the intention is to maintain pressure with the feet firmly to the ground so you can keep the buttocks lifted up, giving us a nice stretch of the quad area. At the same time, we lift the chest up by rolling the shoulders back, closing the gap between the shoulder blades. And now slowly begin to release the buttocks down. And finally, lift the feet off the floor, wrap the arms around the knees, hug the knees to your chest. Keep the tailbone pressing down gently, so the buttocks are not lifted up, but you're able to wrap the arms around the knees and hug the knees to your chest. Head is on the floor as well. So stay in this position for 3 or 4 breaths. This is a counter stretch for the bridge pose and gives a very beautiful relief to the lower back and the hip area. And after 2 or 3 breaths, you can stretch the legs straight and relax in the Shavasana for a few more moments. I thank you for practicing with me the sequence to develop more flexibility and strength in the quad area. I hope you enjoyed the practice. I look forward to receiving your feedback or comments and hope to see you in a future video. Namaste and have a wonderful rest of the day.